Hey folks, Ora here. Hope you're all well. It's here. It's finally here. Shadowlands has been released. We are out of the beta and alpha stages of the expansion. We now have a year to get everything done. Satire jokes aside, this video is going to be a discussion on 9.1.5, my review of it, little bits and tricks, and just generally a heads up of things you should keep an eye out for going forward, whether it be renown farming, Torghast, mythic pluses, and then we'll follow that up with a channel announcement. It's not really a channel announcement. It's an announcement of something I've done that will hopefully benefit both you guys, the channel, and just the WoW community as a whole. Spoilers. So, let's get into the bulk of it. So, as you know, 9.1.5 is quality of life patch. Hasn't been anything too big. There's been a sprinkling. Almost like they've got little seasonings and done the whole salt bay meme with the class tuning, but there's class tuning nonetheless. Primarily focused at the AoE, the melee AoE DPS side of things and removing the AoE cap. So the finer things of the patch we won't really discuss, but the big things, the Covenant swapping, Torghast, and Renown being a big one here, we can discuss, and we will start with the Covenant swapping. So, as you know, if you're we'll start with the Renown, because that's going to lead into the Covenants. So, the Renown system has been improved somewhat. There are places where you can now get your guaranteed Renown. The higher the content, the more the higher chance you have of increasing your Renown per time you do it. So high mythic pluses, high Torghast layers, things like that. Which means that getting Renown now, if you're not already at 80, so if you're a returning player, is a lot faster. And I do mean a lot faster. My friend Nathan, who you sometimes hear me talking to on stream, and is a big part of kind of how the channel got to where it is, along with the rest of Calamity, he's returned to WoW after what has essentially been about a 4 or 5 month break. So he's nowhere near the 80, even on his old main as a hunter. But he's rerolled to Demon Hunter. He's already nearly at 40 renown. And that's after dinging on Tuesday. So he dinged before the changes occurred. I got him through a 15 the Tuesday, which some of you may have seen if you joined my Tuesday stream. And then literally logged off and went to bed. He then did a little bit of stuff with me Wednesday. And, well, I say a little bit of stuff. We literally sat in Torghast for 3 hours. And he's at 34, 36 renown now. And then tomorrow I should help him get to 60 at least. And then he can do the campaign stuff. And the reason for that, and the reason I'm talking about the renown and the fact that it's smoothed out, is because once you hit 80 renown, you can swap covenants at will. You can swap between covenants, and you can also buy an item that will instantly catch your alts up, or even your main character if you swap to the other covenants, to 40 renown immediately, which halves the renown grind, which is huge. But the big part of why covenant swapping is now huge is it means that you can play the content, you can play the covenant you want for the content you want. So, for instance, paladins, if you're a holy main for raid, you need to go Venthir. That's no surprise. Ashen Hollow is bustedly strong as a healing cooldown. However, that immediately locks you out of playing red, because Venthir red isn't, you really don't want to. You can if you need to, but you really don't want to, because obviously Divine Toll is just that strong. Now, there is an argument to be made for Nightfare Paladins in terms of raid utility, because Blessing of Seasons can be a huge damage bonus to certain classes, looking at you, Balanced Druids. But still, this Covenant swapping means that you can test these things out now. So you can be the old groupie for a raid and buffing people's damage at the cost of your own now, and not feel bad. You could do it for, if your guild is farming heroic one night. Say you're on, just having a chill social night, your guild's drinking a few beers, and you decide, let's go clear Sanctum of Domination for fun, or dungeons for fun, or whatever. You can decide to go Night Fae. Say you're going to run through Mist of Tynaside, actually. You're going to go through Mist of Tynaside. Your friends are Venthyr Balanced Druid. Your group doesn't have a Night Fae in the group for whatever reason. Not only can you go, I'll go Night Fae. We'll get the skip. But you can then also give your Balanced Druid Blessings of Summer during Ingram Malok's damage phase. And then just watch as your boomy friend just gets very, very happy and tops, 50, 60k DPS. When paired with, Power Infusion from your Priest Healer or whatever else. But then, come the following day when it's time to PvP or raid or whatever else, you can swap back to Kieran and not have a 2-week grind associated with it. So that kind of stuff is really good for the game and has been asked for since the start. So the fact that it's now implemented, granted there is that 80 renown farm, but now it's implemented, it's a good thing. Because not only that, but if you're into transmogs collections and things like that, once you hit your 80 renown and you can Covenant swap, once you do the campaigns and unlock the armor sets and things like that, you're able to keep them, which is fantastic from a collector's perspective. So you can now have all your plate transmogs, all the plate Covenant sets without having to worry about needing 4 paladins or 4 warriors or, having one of each plate wearer in your Covenant. What my original worry was, because I really, really like the Maldraxian armor. Like the plate armor set from Maldraxxus looks amazing. I don't know. I'm edgy. I like it. And I think it's really, really against the grain for Paladin. So it'd be really good to make a Paladin set that looks like it. Or alternatively, the Venthyr grey campaign gargoyle looking set paired with Ash Candy, the 2-handed sword from Blackwing's Lair, the level 60 raid from level 16 Eltharion. Looks really nice, especially paired with the Dragonmaw Tabard. But you can now do that stuff. If you really want to, you can also farm your anima and upgrade every Covenant to rank to cap if you really want to. It just opens up the doors for you to play however you want, which is great. And going on to the Torghast thing then. Torghast, if you like, whether you like or dislike Torghast now, the changes made to it mean that it is now farmable. Because what it used to be is once you cleared your 2 allocated wings, any clear after that gave you reduced rewards and it would keep diminishing. Now it no longer diminishes. So you can, as I did yesterday, do 3 months worth of Torghast in 3 hours. And the reason for that is because Torghast now and the looting system means that it has essentially become a seasonal task. And what do I mean by that? Well, there are going to be certain wings and certain blessings, because there is obviously now the buff and debuff affixes to Torghast, a bit like Mythic Plus, where you're going to end up with weeks where it is much more lucrative for your time to do Torghast than it would be otherwise. Perfect example would be this week. The Upper Reaches is available, paired with a blessing that allows you to do 60% of a bossy or a target's health as damage, and in a group of 3 or 4, you can easily do the entire 5 floors of Torghast at layer 12 in 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. Which means that you can get, if you're willing to farm it out and min-max the speed a little bit, obviously bearing in mind RNG depending on your floor types, because there are a couple of relatively long floors that require a little bit more finagling in terms of dancing around them. If you had a rogue with Shroud in the group, though, would kind of make it a lot less of a problem. I dare say with a rogue in your group, you could probably make it in 4, to be fair. Might science it. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so you could do, if you were to get it and say, we'll be lenient and say about 7 minutes, because I think on average my runs yesterday were about 7 minutes, and that's as a paladin, so I'm a bit of a wheelchair. So 7 minutes, you'd get four comfortable runs in and not have to worry too much about it, because obviously 4 runs would get you 28 minutes, and then you'd get, nice half an hour, 4 runs. If you really wanted to, and you were like in a proper farming mood though, that's 8 runs an hour. Give it a little bit more, that's 16 runs in 2. Kind of see where I'm going here. 24 runs in 3 hours. And that 24 runs in 3 hours is what used to be 12 weeks. 12 weeks of Torghast. Which, to put it into context in terms of renown, takes us from 80 renown back to 56 renown, back when it was a 2-week bonus thing. So in the space of 3 hours, or rather this week, in the space of what's going to be 4, maybe 5 hours across my odds, I'd have done the same amount of Torghast as I've done so far in the entirety of Season 2. Which is just insane. But what that also means is that come 9.2, when Blizzard invariably increased legendary costs and whatever else, if we're still using Soul Cinders, you can have a boatload banked up already. Or if they change it to a new currency for layers 12, 13, 14, and maybe even 15 if we get that high, you're going to be able to just go, right, okay, we've got a really good week, upper reaches, it's layer 15, layer 14, whatever. I can do it, and I can complete them in, say, an average of 10 minutes. That's still 6 runs an hour. So, again, if you spend 5 hours on your main over the course of a week, or even 2 weeks, if you really, 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 really can't stand Torghast, space it out. You don't need to burn yourself out on this. You could have all the legendary materials you need to last you until the end of the expansion and never have to worry about it again. So the changes to Torghast are really good. The other side note is also, if you do a layer 12 at the moment, you are guaranteed to get a renown at the end of it every time you complete it. So if you're not at 80 renown and you're going to farm Torghast, get yourself into layer 12 and just speedrun it as quickly as you can. You'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You'll get your legendary materials, or your Soul Cinders costs, get them banked, and at the same time get your renown up, which is what my friend Time was doing yesterday when he joined us. He was going from 40 to 48 renown on his various alts, so they could all get their Covenant legendaries, his Shaman, his Priest, and his Monk, and they all then had the materials to boot for an immediate 262 version of the legendaries they were going to craft, which is huge. So definitely a bonus there. The Korthia changes as well. So for those of you that don't have the Archivist's Codex rep, because I appreciate that it was very RNG reliant, hell, my Paladin only recently maxed his out. I maxed mine out like 2 weeks ago. The Renown grind is a lot smoother. They've added extra quests in to give more rep, and not only that, but you can consecutively kill rares for research material, the research tokens, which you'd hand in for the catalogued research. there was a bug, or there was a method, shall we say, of getting considerably more, and that was using a rare called Yorick, who had an incredibly fast respawn timer. So groups were forming him yesterday. There's Wowhead articles about it and stuff. However, he's been hotfixed to have a longer spawn timer. That still doesn't necessarily really change the fact that you can repeatedly kill rares. So if you're in Korthia and you're doing everything else, and you see a rare, like Consumption, for instance, like you've already killed Consumption once, but he's spawning again, just kill him. It's extra tokens. It's going to smooth out your play a bit more, and you're going to get more per day, which is going to be nice. So all in all, the quality of life changes make it so it's easier to return to the game or to catch up if you're behind. So all in all, it's a good patch. And unfortunately, as I did kind of say at the start, Shadowlands is finally upon us. We're here. We've got the expansion as it probably should have been released. But yeah, we're here now, and now's a good time to play. Because with all these changes as well, a lot of the player base is back. Group Finder is more active. People are running more keys. There's a lot more demand for things. So if you are gearing and you're just doing you're stepping into your first Mythic Plus after 8 months, don't stress it. You're going to have people signing up left, right, and center. And people are, at least currently, they seem to be a lot less toxic and a lot more forgiving, because it seems like a lot of people have returned. There's a lot less salt in the community at the moment, which is nice. Now, the announcement that I did allude to at the start of this video is I have applied and sent my application form in to be part of the WoW Community Council. This was on Time's suggestion, so all credit goes to Time for this, because I didn't spot it, and, well, I saw the original article for it, but I didn't think initially that I'd qualify, because end of the day, as you guys know, I'm not a big channel. I'm not the most consistent either. I try to be, but with a slew of bad problems of late, I've not been as consistent as I'd like. But that aside, I didn't really think that I'd carry much weight in my application. But maybe that's a good thing. I'm trying to get into Cutting Edge. I play Retribution Paladin, which there aren't many of. We're a rare breed, shall we say. Either that or we're just special. Yeah, either works. I'll just go, chew my crayons in the corner. And for anyone that's worried, that's a reference to Destiny 2, because I also play a Titan there. Tauren Paladins are Sunbreakers. Change my mind. But the application was sent, and hopefully we're successful. And the reason I say that is because I would very much like to use it and the channel to get a wider group opinion. Now, obviously, one big problem with the community thing will be is if just streamers get in, like large community streamers, and the reason for that is because streamers can warp perception. It could be mob mentality, which is a concern. But if I am successful, I intend to use the skills acquired from my time doing my degree. For those of you that don't know, it's astrophysics. So I would do it in, like, I do surveys, consensuses, things like that, and try and take not only my own beliefs, but the beliefs of everyone in the community, you guys, and try and get your guys' views in on the table as well. Like, for instance, I don't really play Monk that much. Like, although I am gearing a Monk alt, I'm going to need to turn to my friend Stitch to teach me how to play Monk again. Because, honestly, the only Monk spec that I can play reliably is Mistweaver. And that's because, in my experience, Mistweaver's not that difficult. Fistweaving's going to take a little bit of getting used to. But I also think that Fistweaving's probably one of those things where, like this priest, it's much easier with a group that's actually semi-competent. and doesn't take stupid damage or stand in fire. Because I had that happen to me the other day. That was difficult to heal. Fun, but difficult. But yeah, so I've applied for that, and I'll keep you guys notified as to how that application goes, if we hear back. If we don't, hopefully we'll hear something back at least, even if it's just to say no, but we'll see where that goes. In the meantime though, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I may or may not see you in Torghast. But until then, I'll catch you all in the next one, folks. Take care and have fun.